Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. Today, I got a great show for you guys today. We will be continuing down the line of the positional preview that I started a couple months ago. And I can't believe it, but we are 2 weeks away from the start of the season. I am so pumped. I'm pumped to pick up the live streams that we were doing in the football season last year and part of the basketball season, pregame, postgame, all of that good stuff. And just in general, I'm super stoked for the season to begin. I still am going to try and put out a prediction for the West and the East when it comes to the Big Ten. I've said this before, it is largely going to be based off of the talent on each team rather than the schedules, because in my opinion, it is much harder to predict which teams are actually going to be good on each team schedule, rather than predicting who's going to be good when it comes to players on each roster. So we're going to be doing that. And then, of course, for each game, your boy is going to be giving you a preview of each game, the team that Iowa is playing, and, of course, the Iowa Hawkeyes as well. So in the video today, it is, of course, the defensive backs. We have the defensive backs and the defensive line left to cover. And the DBs are kind of hard because, in all reality, I could have broken it down into corners and safeties rather than doing all the DBs. But we're just going to do all the DBs because I don't want to make two videos here. And it's going to be a blast. And without further ado, let's get into this. So right off the bat, guys, this is actually my favorite position going into the season. I definitely like the linebackers. I'm intrigued about the wide receivers and the running backs. I mean, I'm always intrigued about the potential of the Iowa Hawkeye offense. But really, to me, it is the defense at large, but more specifically, the DBs and the linebackers. And when it comes to the DBs, you have to start with returnee last season Big Ten DB of the year, Riley Moss. And when I did my video last year predicting who is going to stay, who is going to go regarding the transfer portal, as well as who's going to leave early for the NFL, I thought Riley Moss was gone. He won the Big Ten DB of the year. I thought it was a virtual lock that he was going to go to the NFL. Now, in all reality, it was a lock. The reason he came back to Iowa is because he thought or felt that he still had some things to prove, both individually and as a team for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And in general, he loves being an Iowa Hawkeye. And I actually believe that he made a very educated decision. Yes, some of it was feelings-based, but it made a lot of sense. I mean, at the end of the day, Phil Parker is as good as it gets. And if you can spend one more year around a phenomenal coach, and it might mean 1 year less in the NFL, there's definitely a case to be made that it is worth it when your coach is as good as Phil Parker. The expectations for Riley Moss are through the roof. I think there's a certain segment of fans, and not Iowa fans, but just sports fans or football fans in general, who may not take Riley Moss seriously just, based off of his looks, his appearance. But the dude is a straight athlete. He is probably top 5, if not the most athletic guy on the Iowa Hawkeye roster. When they discuss who's the fastest guy on the team, Riley Moss is always at the top of the list. The dude was a freak athlete coming out of high school, and Phil Parker took a chance on him and really believed that he could turn Riley Moss, who I believe came to Iowa as a gray shirt, and then when he immediately showed that he could produce for the Iowa Hawkeyes, he then got a scholarship. But he's just a tremendous story, and he's been an athlete since day one. The expectations, as I said, are through the roof for this guy. I think the sky's the limit. I think all the precursors when it comes to athleticism are there. If we look back at the previous Iowa DBs that have been good enough to go to the NFL and have had great careers as Iowa Hawkeyes, let's look at Josh Jackson, Desmond King, Michael Ojemudia. Let's use those three. Amani Hooker, I guess you could throw in there, but I'm using corners. Okay, Michael Ojemudia, Desmond King, and Josh Jackson. I would say Riley Moss is the most athletic of all of them. His leaping ability, his straight line speed, his agility. The dude is a freak athlete. I've said that probably 20 times now, but it's just a fact. And I think when he came to Iowa, he still had so much room for improvement, football improvement, and we're still seeing him tap some of that untapped potential. So his season is going to be huge as long as he can stay healthy, and he is who you need to start with when it comes to the Iowa Hawkeyes. And this is why, in general, I'm a big believer for the Iowa Hawkeyes this season, because you have a lot of people out here, especially when it came to ranking the top 25, who say, well, the reason why Iowa is not in the top 25 is because, yes, their defense is good, but their offense is nah. But to me, their defense is not just good, it's elite. Okay, this defense is loaded from at each level, from top to bottom. It's deep, it's talented, it's athletic, it has talent all over the place. And at each level, the Iowa Hawkeyes have a legit potential All-American Big Ten performer. The defensive line, you have Lucas Van Ness and potentially some other guys. I wouldn't be surprised if there's one or two more guys on that defensive line that vied for some postseason honors. At linebacker, you have two guys, maybe even three guys. Jack Cam, I mean, you guys know the list. And then on the back end, you have Riley Moss. So they have really good talent at all three levels. Now, we're not getting into I'm going to go further into that when we have our our season preview, or my season predictions for the West and the East. Nonetheless, the person you need to start with is Riley Moss. The second thing, and why I'm so excited about this defensive back group, and I think that they can be even better than last year, is the guys who were maybe in lower roles last year, but will be pressed into bigger roles this year. Kayvon Merriweather, Terry Roberts, and of course, Jermari Harris. These guys are all guys who have seen reps last year and even before last year. So they have the skill, they have the veteran laden leadership, they have all the tools necessary, and this is the year that they will take that big jump forward. Kayvon Merriweather is definitely atop of that list. So it's not as though the guys who left last year are being replaced by guys who haven't seen the field at all. These are guys who have been contributors for a while. Jermari Harris went in there and was not a world beater last year, but he still gave us some good reps. And even if he is not the undisputed answer as the solidified left cornerback starter, I feel confident that Iowa will find somebody outside of him, whether it's Terry Roberts or, someone else down the line, one of the freshmen, TJ Hall, you name it. There's a lot of talent in the room at the defensive back group. So you have Riley Moss, and then you have these guys who saw reps last year, who saw snaps last year, and now are being asked to be put into a bigger role. And I have every confidence in the world that they will be just fine. Now, after that, after you have the top guy, and then you have the secondary guys being put into bigger roles, you have some of the guys who were maybe redshirt, who we've been hearing a lot about, but we haven't seen a ton yet. Brandon Diaz-Fernandez. We saw a little bit from Cooper Dejean. Who isn't excited about Cooper Dejean? I know I am. He is a huge reason that I am so high on this defensive back group, is because of the limitless potential that guys like him have on this roster. behind the top guys, I would say the top group of DBs are Jamari Harris, Terry Roberts, Riley Moss, Kayvon Merriweather, Cooper DeJean, Quinn Schultz. I would say that those are the top guys. The guys behind them, I would say, are Brendan Diaz-Fernandez, Reginald Bracey. Those are the guys, Xavier Wampa, TJ Hall. Those are the guys that are behind maybe the 1A, 1B tier of the DB group. But again, these guys, I have a ton of expectations for as well. This unit, will they be able to do what we saw last year in a historic season of takeaways from this Iowa Hawkeye defense? I don't see why not. The Iowa Hawkeye roster has a solidified lockdown corner in Riley Moss. Okay, they have that guy. And if some of these other guys on this roster can chip in, Iowa will be in excellent shape. Now, to round this out, I'm going to tell you guys some of and I already started to do this, some of the guys that, again, are either true freshmen or were redshirt freshmen last year, who I think may have a chance of seeing the field this year and contributing either due to injury or, just playing really well in practice or getting some production on special teams. And those guys are, of course, Xavier Wampa to start with. This guy, you always have to be a little bit concerned when Iowa lands, just a little bit, not too much, when Iowa lands a top tier guy, that they're going to get to Iowa and, it's all just going to go downhill from there. And that could not be further from the truth with Xavier Wampa. He has come to Iowa and he has lived up to the billing since day one. He's in the film room. He's getting it done. He, got some picks or got some tip passes in the kids' day practice, and he looks great. Do I think that he is going to be a starter for the Hawkeyes? No, I don't. I think the Iowa Hawkeyes are super set. And I'm actually forgetting a name. I cannot believe I just forgot this name. And it actually deserves going back and stating his name before going back to Xavier Wampa real quick. And that is, of course, Sebastian Castro. I cannot believe I almost forgot about him. But he's a guy that again, is in that second tier. Reggie Bracey, Sebastian Castro, Brandon Diaz-Fernandez, guys that are in that second tier who could move forward and definitely solidify themselves, maybe not this year, but for next year, moving forward. I think it's pretty much Sebastian and Xavier battling it out, but the starters that you have here, I think, will be the starters week one. It's going to be Jamari at the left cornerback position. Terry Roberts will probably be the third starting cornerback. When the Iowa Hawkeyes decide to play a multiple DB set, Terry Roberts is going to see the field a ton. Riley Moss is going to be the right cornerback. Strong safety is going to be Kayvon Merriweather. I think Cooper DeJean is going to be the starting cash. And I predicted that way back when I did his recruiting video. He just screamed cash. He had a thick body, very athletic, was aggressive. The cash is not just a guy who is athletic, but can also help in the run game. The cash is also, in my opinion, the guy who has the highest IQ on the defense, or one of the top guys with the highest IQ, not in, academic intelligence necessarily, but in football intelligence, because the cash guy is basically asked to just go make plays, both in the pass game and in the run game. And it just screamed Cooper DeJean. I mean, the guy was a starting quarterback. He knows football. So Cooper DeJean will be the starting cash guy for the Iowa Hawkeyes. When they go with that, I do also think that the Hawks will go a lot with Justin Jacobs just because of how talented he is this upcoming season. And I think that will hinder some of the snaps that Cooper DeJean would have otherwise seen. But they will both see the field. And then at free safety, I do believe Quinn Schultz will be the starting free safety. And going back to Xavier Wampa, And then behind them, Sebastian Castro. The three guys that are pressing the most for snaps would be Sebastian Castro, Xavier Wampa, and TJ Hall, as well as Brandon Diaz-Fernandez. So these are all the guys that are vying for snaps. At the end of the day, guys, this is an important the seasons that Iowa, outside of the Josh Jackson season, where Iowa has an excellent DB, an excellent back end group, Iowa wins ball games. It is paramount to Iowa's success getting takeaways and limiting any other team through the air. And my expectations for this group are sky high. I would say that the top two groups, position groups for the Iowa Hawkeyes going into this season would be the linebackers, and it would be 2A, 2B between the DBs and the defensive line. I think they're both very talented, and I'm not sure I would give either one an edge until the season starts. But they are definitely the top position group for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So that is pretty much it, folks. This group is very talented. And I am looking forward to what they can do. I think Riley Moss absolutely will be in contention for Big Ten DB of the year yet again. I'm excited to see what some of the newer guys like Jermari Harris and Terry Roberts can do. And then Kayvon Merriweather, will we see him take the next step? I think it's certainly possible. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. What freshmen do you think will play, if any at all? Who do you think will be the primary DBs starting Cash? I'm really curious what some of you guys think of Cooper Dejean. I'm really high on him. I think that this guy is an All-American in the making, and the more time he has with Phil Parker, the better. And he is already ascending the depth charts for the Iowa Hawkeyes as a true sophomore. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. We're 2 weeks away from the season. As I said, I'm still going to be dropping my Big Ten West and Big Ten East predictions, or my power rankings. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do yet, as well as a game preview of Iowa versus South Dakota State. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Help your boy out. At the very least, like, comment, share. You know the drill. I will see you guys next time. DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. And facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye.